So this is page 3, Canon in D. So when I would say playing this piece, simply watch out for the left hand. So you've got a lot of octave jumps. So this is quite jumpy in terms of, you know, up and down the keyboard and everything. But like I say, as long as you practice and are aware, you'll get the hang of those octave jumps. In the middle line, or from bar 9, try and make sure that you get some sort of fingering there. So you get everything under the hand. There might be some different alternatives that you want to do, and that's absolutely fine. But if you just make sure that you're not doing... You don't want to be doing things like that. So you can use the suggested fingering or anything else that you feel suitable, but as long as it's nicely flowing. So that's pretty much it with this one. Moving on to floating on page 4. So the main difficulty with this, I think, is the moving left hand. So if you practice the hands separately, I think you'll be able to get the hang of this, but a lot of it repeats most of the time. But like I say, it's just sort of the left hand. There isn't really anything kind of peculiar going on in the right hand. You've got a few jumps here and there. It gets a little bit more interesting when you get to sort of bar 22-ish. So that kind of part there. And then you've got the chords. But I've kept them mostly together as well, so you're not jumping around with the chords. So that's probably the most difficult thing, but you know, play hands separately, put it together, and you should get it. Humoresque, we've got some dotted rhythms here. Humoresque. So nothing particularly difficult here. There's just two main bars, which I would say are bars 16 and bars 21, 22 and bars 23. But just practice those separately to get the hang of those, and it's mostly just getting your fingers over the correct finger numbers and just a dotted rhythm. Can you see it? So it's the second and the third. So if you look at each group of four, it's the second and the third that are close together. So apart from the first one, it's the two in the middle. Close, close, close. This is what makes humoresque humoresque. So again, I've tried to make the left hand reader be simple. When you get to bar 17, it's basically just a repeat from the start. If you don't want to do those octaves, you don't have to put those octaves in. I've just done it just to add a little bit more variety. So that's pretty much it with humoresque. Like I said, everything that you've learned in book 3 is all now coming here in the songbook 3. So moving on to Meadow Ayre, you've got 3 sharps in this: F sharps, C sharps and G sharps. So again, similar to floating, you've got that left hand. So just spend a little bit more time working on the left hand, plus you've got 3 sharps: F sharp, C sharp and G sharp. In the middle in bar 17, you've got a key change to C major, so everything is natural. So that's why you see 3 natural signs there. So none of the notes are sharp unless it says otherwise. And that's pretty much it really. Again, it's just getting the hang of the left hand. That's the most difficult part in this. But separate hand practice before you put it together, and not going too fast. You could speed this up eventually. You see, so it's completely up to you, or it works slow. Depending on how you want to play it really. So moving on to Minuet in G. I think overall there's nothing hugely complicated in either hand. I think it'll be the hands going together. A lot of people find these sorts of pieces quite difficult because there's just as much going on the left hand as there is going on in the right hand. The left hand can be more awkward because it is a little bit more jumpy. There's just as much going on as the right hand, like I just said, but also the left hand doesn't have a tune, which makes it hard to kind of pinpoint where it's going to next. But really just some slow practice with this, maybe some hands separately, breaking it down line by line will help you get the hang of this. So moving on to O mio Babino, so you will find that you've got some of these little wiggly lines next to all of the left hand, and all they are, they're just arpeggiated notes, which means you might not be able to get the B, the G and the B, or some of the chords, but you want to play them as quickly as possible from bottom to top, and maybe sort of hold the top two if you like. So it should look like this. So you want to almost play it just before. So your top note comes in time with the note it's supposed to be on. So like this. I'll do it really slowly. You see, so you're ever so slightly coming in with the left hand just before where it should do, so that when you get to the top note, it lands perfectly on the start of the bar. So I'll play it through for you. The next piece is Rigaudon on page 9. So again, pretty much similar to the Minuet in G by Mozart, there's a little bit more going on in the left hand than what you might be used to. So just practice hands separately before you put it together. The hardest bars are probably bars 3, bars 7, bars 11, where you've got lots going on together. But again, nothing overly complicated in here, just sort of separate hand playing really. Andante in D, you've got some chords that you might find a little bit tricky, but again, I mean, this is only book 3, so there should be nothing that's overcomplicated in here, just separate hand practice to get the hang of it, and it does repeat quite a lot as well. So I'm going to play Andante in D for you. moving on to Sorrow. Again, it's another one of those left hands. So the left hand's moving sometimes more than the right hand, which is just worth sorting out. So again, nothing more complicated in here. You have got a dotted rhythm, but if you work out the counting, so 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so I'm going to play Sorrow for you. And to finish off the book, Skylark. Nothing too tricky in this. It's just a little bit towards the end where you're just going to have to get your fingers around some of the notes. But again, nothing that you haven't and won't have already have picked up in book 3. You can see me play it here, and I think the key to this is just speed. It doesn't want to be too fast, otherwise you've just lost it, haven't you? So it's a very kind of pretty piece, so you want to take your time with it. Taking your time with it is just going to help you out anyway. But again, slow practice, separate hands before putting it together, and then you should have it. So there we go, that's the end of the book.